Hey everybody, this is Nighthawk of the OG Loko and Nighthawk Show. Just wanted to talk to you guys about the state of Halo in 2018. There's a lot of rumors going around that Halo 8, or wow, Halo 6 is going to be announced at E3 here. I'm thinking of 2018, that's why I said 8. And there's a lot of mixed emotions about that because a lot of people don't feel like 343 is handling Halo very well. Although I personally think that Halo 4 especially was a fantastic game. It had great emotion to it. There was a lot of great gameplay, solid gameplay, new enemy that they introduced. The Didact was a great villain. He really was. I mean, he just deceived evil, but yet he was still just like he had that cool voice. I can't remember what the voice actor is, but he does a really good job with that. Um, and then they kill him off, sort of. But um, my gripe with 343 would be like within Halo 5, where make they don't bring the Didact back. I mean, it's still possible he could come back. He was composed. This is kind of off-screen type of stuff happening in the expanded universe on Halo, but he was composed by the composer, so technically his digital, consciousness is still out there. And I kind of wonder if there's some way he could have access to the domain from there. Now that I'm thinking about it a little bit more, if he got access to the domain and he was manipulating Cortana, that would explain a fucking hell of a lot. However, I don't think that's the way the 343 is going to go. Other um, there's other ways and issues that could come up. There's a lot of things like there's links to the flood because uh, a lot of people don't know if you've only played the games, the precursors and the flood, same guys, just one's corrupted of the other. So, but then again, the precursors, which for those of you who don't know, precursors came before the forerunners and were basically the reason why there's so much confusion in the galaxy right now, or at least in the game, with like the whole thing with the covenant and stuff like that. Humanity, the reason why the precursors don't get any say or anything, or you never hear about them, is because they were basically destroyed and wiped out by the forerunners because the precursors decided that the forerunners were not going to be inheritors of the mantle of responsibility, which is briefly touched upon in Halo 5, and it's kind of thrown out there in the loop. Like, you just kind of. There's a little, you know, monologue at the end of Halo 4 that mentioned it, but you'd have to go through all the terminals and all the other backstory stuff to get that information. So the precursors chose humans to accept to take on the mantle responsibility and to be tested. So I'm actually making a video about the domain, and it's kind of getting into that territory there with like Cortana's rampancy and her supposed cure through the domain. But there's uh, so that's kind of where I'm thinking they're going to go with Halo 6, is because the Flood have technically returned in Halo Wars 2. I'm assuming that's canon because they bring back the Flood that's still on High Charity, which I don't understand. I haven't played through it though, so I will save my judgment on it. But I don't know how to understand how the Flood survived the tactical firing of the Halo ring right at the Ark. I don't get that. I thought I was supposed to destroy them too, as well as any biomass that was great enough to sustain them. Anyway, so there's a lot of people are one way or another about Halo now. I think like Halo Reach was really the last time that everyone was like, yeah, Halo is so great. And people hate Halo 5. It did have kind of an abrupt ending, which if you remember back, so did Halo 2. Halo 2 had a very abrupt ending, and people were fucking throwing their controllers at the wall, at their TVs, at the walls. It became national news of people throwing their controllers at televisions because of the ending of Halo 2. And you talk to anybody about Halo 2 nowadays, and they're like, "Oh, I love that game. It was such a great game. Just so much fun. I mean, I just loved every minute of it." And I'm like, "You didn't at the time. Well, you might have loved every minute of it up until the end, and then you got so pissed off about it that you probably forgot about everything beforehand that you enjoyed." So I kind of take people's compliments to Halo 2 with a little bit of grain of salt, as well as their criticisms of Halo 5 with a bit of a grain of salt, because the there are similar situations in those two games, and people hate Halo 5 now, but there's a lot of good things about Halo 5. There was new gameplay mechanics introduced. You have to keep. I mean, it still felt like Halo. Yeah, there were some Call of Duty elements in there with the mantling over objects and stuff like that, but that was not prevalent. Like there was, like for me in Call of Duty, to hop over. That's what you see all the time. So I haven't played the last few, so it's probably outdated now. But the mantling over objects, whoop-de-doo. You have to keep adding new gameplay elements in order to keep the gameplay fresh, and I think Halo 5 succeeded in that. There's ways of traversing the maps that made it less linear, which I thought was a very welcome surprise. The whole charge, burst through the wall thing, that was great. And then the little ground pound thing where you hover up in the air for a moment and you slam down to the ground, as well as like the jump stabilizer aiming thing that was, you know, it's just like little things, not major things. It wasn't a complete and total reinvention in my mind. It was just, introducing some new stuff into a game that is, the first Halo came out I think 2001. So this is a 17-year-old franchise. It kind of needs, freshened up from time to time. You can't just stick with the same stuff. And since they're not bringing back dual wielding, which I kind of liked, but apparently one of the main developers hates dual wielding, so it's probably never going to show up again. Um, it's just, you got to keep doing stuff like that. So yeah, did they take a risk with Halo 5? Yeah, did it pay off? There was other issues. I think the couch co-op was the biggest issue, and the lack thereof, I should say. And so much so that they've said that every Halo game that they make going forward is going to have split screen co-op. That's just going to be how they're going to do it. They were trying to go for a very specific, I guess, feel for Halo 5, and it's kind of a cop-out excuse, I'll admit that, but it was that was probably one of their biggest mistakes, was removing couch co-op. You should never remove that from a game that's literally known for it. Even when it doesn't make sense. Like this one, it would have made the most sense in canon to have had, co-op player since Halo 3. Or Halo Reach, I guess, too. But, because you always had a squad. You always had a squad. So why not have split screen enabled? Because then you can, in Halo CE and Halo 2, you play as just another carbon copy of the Master Chief. Well, that doesn't make a lot of sense. And yet it was a thing. That was the thing. It was fun. You got to play with your buddy at, sitting 5 feet away from you. Anyway, so this has kind of been a long-winded vlog, but I just wanted to, speak out about Halo. I'm working on a lore video on Halo. Actually, I'm working on a couple, but I don't know how much traction it'll get, but I'm gonna post them here soon. I hope you guys enjoy. I think that's it for me. All right. If you guys haven't already subscribed, subscribe at the bottom there. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. Just a little bit of time. We post videos as regularly as we possibly can. The schedule's getting away. We all work full-time jobs. And so it's hard to get, videos out every single, week like we want to. But we're always trying to post new content at all times as much as we humanly can. So if you haven't subscribed, please hit the little subscribe button. You don't necessarily have to hit the little bell. I don't know why YouTube included that stupid thing, but hit the subscribe. If you want to hit the bell thing to get the notifications, that's great too. To each their own. If you have any comments on Halo, the universe, how 343 is handling, leave a comment below. I would love to talk to you guys about how you think 343 is handling things, or if there's questions about the lore, or theories you guys have on Halo. Let me know. I'd like to hear those thoughts and whatnot. So without further ado, I bid you good night.